This person has quite a long statement here. I won't read the whole thing to you, but it has to do with linking lights and darks. And this person was especially concerned with a figure drawing class. She was in a figure drawing class, and the instructor kept telling her to link her shapes, link her light shapes and her dark shapes. Then she says here, I'm looking at the Mona Lisa right now. If I were drawing in pencil, as I was in this class, I would see light on the face, chest, then a big dark shape in hands. How are lights linked in this painting, for example? I have a method for studying what artists are doing or what artists have done in the way they structure paintings that considers not just line or other factors, but just simply lights and darks. And lights and darks are created by shadows and areas not in shadows. Now, if you're studying light and darks and linking shapes, perhaps the pencil is not really a good instrument to study them with unless you're using the side of the pencil to do what we would call shading. Here's a little suggestion I'll make for you if you really want to get down into the heart and the guts of any painting that any artist has done, just to see what they've done with lights and darks and how they link them. First of all, just a sheet of canvas or a gessoed board. It doesn't matter which. This would be study, so it's not something you're going to show to anybody. It's something that you're using to inform yourself. And you can use any transparent color. This is an oil paint. I'm doing this. You could do this in acrylic if you used a retarder in the acrylic to slow the drying down, but it really works better in oil for this particular exercise. So I like to thin it, and I've done other quick tips on this, it's called the Lift Out No Tan. I can't remember the number right now, but anyway, what you do is you put a little bit of the transparent paint into a container, and you dip your brush into solvent. In this case, it would be Gamsol, and get the paint dissolved enough so that it's going to go on thinly. And then you coat the entire surface, first of all, with a thin coat of paint. And when a thin coat that's been thinned down with Gamsol or some mineral spirits or turpentine solvent. I know some of you probably cringed when I said turpentine because that's become a bad word in the painting world, but we won't go there. Now, that gives you something to work with, a surface where you can then begin to study what's actually happening. Now, if we look particularly at the Mona Lisa, which is probably one of the most hashed up paintings, a painting that gets more hashed up than any other painting in our history. But let's simply look at what Leonardo has done here, linking the darks and the lights. Now, linking means that it's positioned or connected in such a way that lights flow into lights and darks flow into darks. It doesn't necessarily mean that that lights have to be connected. They can be arranged so that one leads to the other by the way it's placed. But there are subtle things we do in order to connect them. So if we were studying the Mona Lisa, the way you suggest there, we could start in any place. But look, first of all, what's being lit. Now, if you notice, the whole background is being lit. If you squint, we have this darker version here, but if you squint, you can see that all the background is lighter. Now, there are some areas in there that are darker, but when you squint at it from the structural point of view, you'll see the entire background is lighter. And so you can begin there, and you can simply begin to lift out. And you might need to, if you use a paper towel or a lint-free paper towel or a lint-free cloth, you can do that. Dip it in a little bit of Gamsol if it's already dry like this is, and then begin to lift out. And you can do that very gradually. And what I'm aiming for here, I've got pretty much of a portion of shape I have there. I'm aiming to lift out just around, just in the light areas. I want to lift the light out. I want to see what the structure is. So I'm just lifting the light. I'm not looking at the image. I'm just looking at the shape of light. And so then if I just take it bit by bit and watch the angles there and lift that light out, how far does that light go down? It actually goes down to about right there if I lift that light out. And it's a study, so you don't have to be really meticulous there, but you can gauge the shape. This is negative shape, and I say it needs to maybe move over a little bit further when I compare what I've done there with that. Maybe it needs to be okay, and then I get those angles, and because all of that counts as far as how the lights communicate. The light in the background communicates with the light that's lifted out here. So you see there's more than just that very strong light of the face and chest and hands. Now I'll continue and lift out light around. So I'll just continue and consider that whole space this whole space as just a shape of light, not anything else. Just a shape where light is striking, in on that area where that's been communicated. And so then I continue to lift it out, and then I begin to see then the negative shape of that light that is behind this figure. And how far down does that go? Okay. And it's not necessary that you get it exactly, but you get in the neighborhood of what you see there in terms of this negative shape as compared with that. Even as you're doing it, you begin to understand something about what he was really doing with light there. So did I go down far enough? Perhaps just a little bit further. Now, that is the background. That is the light in the background that enables the light in the foreground to link. Now let's look at how else it works now. I'm going to go in and just try to gauge where that light is. Now I'm not looking at, I don't want to look at eyes and nose and mouth and that sort of thing. Just want to look at the shape of light. And so then if I just look at the shape of light, I will begin to better understand the whole concept of light. Let's see, I've got that a little far down, but that's sort of what we've got there. Then we have a little dip there, and we have a connecting light that goes down like that. If you see right there, have a little bit of connecting light. Now we can see that the darks are linked within the shadows of the hair itself, and then with the shadows underneath the chin, the darks are linked. And then as I come on around with the light, where the light is, not where it's in shadow, where the light is, I begin to see this sort of shape. But I'm seeing more. I'm seeing this is carrying some light too. And you can see that this light begins to go and carry over visually into that light in the background. So did I come down far enough? I didn't come down quite far enough for that, so I'll bring it down a little bit further, like that. And this is just studying now what's going on with the light. So then we have that is linking the light in the background. And then we have that light emitting just a little bit more as it's coming down in this direction. Did you notice that? That too is part of the light. It's a darker light, but it's a part of the light pattern. And then we can see how this really pulls on down, and we begin to see a little bit more light reflecting in this area right over here. It's sort of still in shadow. We'll begin to see that the way this light moves in this direction is connecting here, and we picked it up with a stronger light there on the arm section. So see, I'm showing you a method here. You might even do that. I'm showing you a method here for actually studying how the light is connected. I'm beginning to see Need to push that over just a little bit more right there. Not that it matters that much as a study. Okay, and now you can begin to see that this actually connects into here. This connects into here visually connects into there and comes on down. And then we have the strong light on the hand, which is about right here, sort of about right there. And the other hand is carrying a strong light too. It's kind of shaped like that. Then we have that low light that's connecting. So you see the low light's connecting here, and then bringing on the light down there. And then you see that this is connecting. This is a brighter light, but then this is connecting with a lower light that moves right in that direction. Sort of like that. So now let's see. Now can we see, let's go that just a little bit more there. Now can we see how Leonardo, let's pull this down a little bit more. You can do all kinds of tweaking after you get a major study established, but then you can begin to see how Leonardo has used the bright lights as emphasis. But we can see these lights are actually connected. We can see them right here, actually connected. And then we look a little bit more, and maybe we can see a little bit more light. Now, because the painting is old and has connected lots and lots of dirt and grime over the years, I don't know if it's been cleaned or not. Somebody will tell me that, I'm sure. But we can still, we might not be able to see those lights as bright as they are. These is what I'm getting at there. But the point is, if you really want to study how an artist has used lights and darks, forget what it is and average it just in terms of where the light's striking. And then you'll be able to see how the artist has used that light or used paths of light to connect light patterns. And you can see that this, because of the way it's shaped, our visual attention does something like this. You can see that right here. Our visual attention does something like this with the light. The visual attention is doing that, and that is visually connected. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section, and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianeMize.com, where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.